If you don't have any doubts, then I'll start. Okay, so you don't have any doubts, right? Okay, if you don't have any doubts, then I'll. Sai Sharanya. Yes, you can share your screen. You can share your screen, Sai Sharanya. Yeah, define even odd if k mod 2 is equals to 0, print even and print odd. Okay. Input of enter any number. Okay. So the problem is where you are started, ma. Your main should be from the beginning. Okay, I think you are given some space before A, right? Can you start from beginning? No, not that is okay. That is anyway. That is comment only. I'm not talking. Yeah, that line. Yes, that line should be starting from starting. Next line also, even or the function calling also. Yes. Now you can run your program. You're getting error, invalid syntax. Okay, go to your program once. Okay, define even odd a came out to double equals 0, print even, else print odd, a equals to input of enter any number. So you are using double code or single code. You are having some issue with the brackets. Int of input of enter any number. Is that brackets are in correct order? I think you are using one double code, one single code. Is it right? Please check your codes in the enter any number. Enter any number. The problem is there only. Okay. 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 So both are same codes means not a problem. Okay. Both are double codes means not a problem. Okay. 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 But can you maximize? Can you maximize? Is there any possibility to maximize your window? 1 minute. Define even odd a if a mod 2 double is equals to 0, print even, else print odd. A is equals to int input of enter any number, even odd a. Int input of enter any number. Are you saved it? Please save this. It is why it is showing star, new star. Star means it's unsaved in general. Please save this program once. Save and you will try to come run the program. What is the error you are getting? Actually, I'm unable to see invalid syntax. Invalid syntax. Where invalid syntax? int of input, enter any number. Okay, okay. Go to your program. Go to your program. EF, even, odd, EVEN, ODD. A. Everything is correct. Is it 0 or O? Even, odd, EVEN, ODD. కరెక్ట్ ఏనా అది? అక్కడ పైన మీరు అది ఓ కాదనుకుంటున్నా నేను. డెఫినేషన్ లో ఐ థింక్ ఇట్ ఈస్ లుకింగ్ లిటిల్ బిట్ డిఫరెంట్. సో ఫంక్షన్ కాలింగ్ లోనే ఫంక్షన్ ఈజ్ డిఫరెంట్. పైన ఈవెన్ ఆడ్ ఉంది కదా, ఈవెన్ ఆడ్ లో అది స్మాల్ ఓనేనా అది? ఇస్ ఇట్ స్మాల్ ఓ? ప్లీజ్ చెక్, అదర్వైజ్ యూ కాపీ సేమ్ అండ్ యూ పేస్ట్ హియర్ ద ఫంక్షన్ కాల్ ఆల్సో యూ కాపీ అండ్ పేస్ట్. మొత్తం అవసరం లేదు, ఓన్లీ ఫంక్షన్ నేమ్ ఫంక్షన్ నేమ్ మొత్తం అవసరం లేదమ్మా, ఓన్లీ ఫంక్షన్ నేమ్. ఓకే, జస్ట్ యూ పేస్ట్. లాస్ట్ లైన్ అది రీప్లేస్ చేయండి. ఇక్కడ ఓ కొంచెం డిఫరెంట్ అనిపిస్తుంది నాకు చూడడానికి. ఓకే, జస్ట్ యూ అది ఆ లైన్ మొత్తం ఓకే, రైట్. ద ప్రాబ్లం యూ ఆర్ యూసింగ్ okay, I think 0 in your definition instead of 4. Somewhere you are using some other thing. Okay, right. Yes. So I think all of you are practiced the programs and you don't have any doubts, right? So only thing is whenever you are using some function in definition, whatever the function name you are giving in the definition, the same function name must be there in the function call also, right? Okay. So we'll continue with the functions only. We'll discuss one more important topic in functions, that is relating to the arguments. Very important topic. Arguments, we can say user defined arguments. Okay, arguments in functions. Okay, so we are having 4 types of arguments. First argument is keyword arguments. Yesterday already we seen what is the meaning of argument or parameter. Argument also known as parameter. Keyword argument. Okay, first we can call it as required arguments. Required arguments. Next one is keyword arguments. This is very important question for interviews. Keyword arguments, default arguments, and fourth one is variable length arguments. Okay. It's very important topic, especially for interviews. Most of the Python interviews are going to be are going to ask this question. What are the different types of arguments in Python whenever you are working with functions? So 4 types of arguments are there: required arguments, keyword arguments, and default arguments, and as well as variable length arguments. So first we'll see what is meant by required argument. Required arguments means, required means you must pass the arguments to function. You must pass the arguments while calling function. Required means it's mandatory, it's compulsory. The meaning of required is it's mandatory or it's compulsory. If you don't pass the arguments while you are calling the function, you will get an error. We'll see an example. We'll see an example program so that you can understand. I'm defining some function add, which is expecting two arguments a, b, okay, and it is going to print some value, okay, print sum is a plus b. So now I'll call this function. So I'm asking a value. Okay, what is the output of this program? If you assume a value 100, b value 200. If you assume a value 100, b value 200, what is the output of this program? If you assume a value 100, b value 200, what is the output of this program? 300. Okay, that is fine. Now, what are the required arguments here? What are the required arguments? Here, required arguments are a comma b. Means a comma b or anything. Okay, we are supposed to pass two arguments, whether it is a b or mn xy something, whatever it may be. Okay, so for example, if I pass only one argument, then what is the output here? If I pass only one argument, then what is the output here? What is the output of this program if I pass only one argument? How many arguments it is expecting? This function is expecting how many arguments? It is expecting two arguments, but I am passing how many arguments? In my function call, I am passing only one argument. So when you pass only one argument, okay, or when you don't pass any argument, okay, here required means compulsory. You are supposed to pass two arguments. If you don't pass two arguments, or if you are passing only one argument, then you are going to get an error. You can read that error, you can understand what is the meaning of required argument. Now I'll run this program. Enter first number 100, second number 200. What is the error? The error is required positional arguments. Okay. So this function add is missing two required positional arguments. Okay. So two required positional arguments it is missing. So that is the problem. That's why we are getting an error. That is a concept of required arguments. I think it is clear to all, right? Okay, so required arguments. Definitely you are going to need two arguments. You are going to require two arguments. So that's why
One minute, students.
I disconnected. Okay, sorry. Okay, now I am audible, right? Okay, so now I am trying to explain this program again. So now how many arguments I am passing? I think I am audible, right? Yes, okay. So now in the previous case, I sent no arguments. Simply I written add. So when I written add, it is not having any arguments. So we are getting an error. What is the error we are getting? We are getting this error. The error is add function is missing two arguments, two required arguments. What are the arguments A and B? It is missing. When I send one argument, then you are going to get this error. Add function is missing one required argument. So that's why compared to other programming languages, Python is easy. Why? Because if you read the error, then you can understand what is the problem and you can try to resolve the problem by yourselves. But in other programming languages, even though you get an error, you are not in a position to solve the problem by yourselves. So that is the main difference between Python with other programming languages. Is it clear to all? Understood, ma? All of you understood? I think all of you understood regarding first type of arguments, required arguments. Okay. Is it clear to all? What is the meaning of required arguments and how we are going to use this required arguments? If you are passing two arguments, then you won't get any error because here two arguments are required, and if you pass two arguments, then you won't get any error. If you pass one argument or if you pass zero arguments, then you will get error. For example, here I am giving some inputs. Because you are passing two arguments and it is required two arguments, there is no error. But if I pass one argument, it is expecting two arguments, but you are passing one argument, then you will get an error. The error also easily you can understand by reading that error. It's very clear. This add function is missing one required positional argument. What it is missing also it's clearly given. Missing B. Right? I hope all of you understood this, right? Any doubts in required arguments? Any doubts in required arguments? All of you please respond. Required means you must and should pass. Whenever you are calling a function, you must and should pass. If your function is expecting some 100 arguments, then you must pass 100 arguments whenever you are calling that function. If you pass 99 arguments, okay, it won't execute. It will give you an error because I am expecting 100 arguments. You are passing only 99 arguments. So that's why we are getting an error. So that is about first type of argument. Second type of arguments is it is actually new concept. This type of concept is not there in any programming language, including Java, PHP, C, C++. In none of the programming languages, this type of arguments are not there. Okay, that's why it's very easy. Okay, so keyword arguments are nothing but you must pass arguments in any order, okay, while calling the function, okay. So but it will consider based on keyword means we can say name only. So this is a simple explanation for keyword arguments. Okay, you can understand what I written here. Okay, once we go with an example. I'll go with an example so that you can understand what is the meaning of the sentence, whatever I written. So keyword arguments. So here I am getting some writing some function here. F of a comma b comma c. Print a is a. Print b is b. Print b is b. Okay. So now I'll define. I'll call this function in the main. So what's the function name? Function name I can call it as some display. Function name is display. Okay. So display c is equals to 100, b is equals to 50, a is equals to some 20. Now tell me what is the output of this program. By reading this explanation, you try to tell me what is the output of this program. Just you read this line, all of you please read this line and try to guess what is the output of the program, whatever I written. First read this line once or twice. What is meant by keyword arguments? For the line, whatever I written here, okay, we are trying to understand this line with an example program. Okay, so I'll read this line for you. You must pass the arguments in any order while calling the function, but it will consider based on the keyword or name only. Okay, now we'll go to the example. Now tell me what is the output anyone written? Check it. A value 20, B value 50, C value 100. Very good. Yes, very good. Yeah. Okay. So we'll see. I told you this feature is not available in any programming language except Python. So that is the specialty of Python. Okay, so now please compare your output with the program. Okay. Okay, so what is the input we are given? What are the values we are given for A? What are the values we are given for B? And what are the values we are given for okay. So what are the values we given for A? I am passing C value 100. I am passing B value 50. I am passing A value 20 in my function calling. Whenever I am calling this display function, I am passing C value 100, B value 50, A value 20. But in my function definition, this is function definition. This is function definition. Okay. This is function calling. This is function calling, and this is function definition. Whenever I am writing a DEF, that is nothing but function definition. Okay. So, but your definition is expecting something like this: A, B, C. So, whenever you are using same names in your function calling and as well as in the function definition, so it is going to consider only the based on the keyword only. So if you send 100 for first argument, this is first argument, this is second argument, this is third argument. It is okay. It is having 3 arguments. So your function definition also expecting 3 arguments only. But whenever you are calling this function by sending these 3 arguments, it's going to check what is the keyword in this function calling. Keyword is C. Where is C? So C value will be 100. What about B? B is here. So B value will be 50. What about A? A value is here. So A value will become 20. So it doesn't matter what order you are passing the arguments while calling the function. It is going to consider only the keyword. That is the meaning of keyword. Keyword means based on its name or variable name. Right? Is it clear to all? Is it okay, ma? All of you understood? What is the meaning of keyword argument? Okay, keyword arguments doesn't matter what type of, for example, I'll write one more function. I'll write one more function in the same program. So I'm writing one more function, that is display one. I can call it as display one. I can call XYZ. I'm taking XYZ. Okay. So here I can display X value, I can display Y value, I can display Z value. X is, Y is, Z is. I'll call that function second function also display one. The name is display one. Now I'll send Z is equals to, or I can send Y is equals to 1000, Z is equals to 2000, and X is equals to 3000. Okay. So actually what this function is expecting, display one function is expecting first argument X, second argument Y, third argument Z. But what I am sending? I am sending first argument Y, second argument Z, third argument X. Okay, so it's going to check where Y is. Y is here. So Y value will becomes 1000. Where Z is? Z is here. So that is the meaning of keyword. It is going to check keyword, or it is going to check the name. Wherever there is a match, then that value will be assigned to that argument. Okay, now we'll run this. Okay. So this is output of this program. We observe here. For the previous one, A value I am sending 20. So that's why here we are getting A value 20, B value 50, and C value 100. For this program, A value 20, 50, 100. X value I am sending 3000 here. Y value I am sending 1000 here. Z value I am sending 2000. Right? I think it is clear to all, right? Any doubts? Please let me know if you have any doubts. Any doubts, ma? Okay. Right. We'll go for third type of arguments, default arguments. Default arguments are nothing but if you have any value given for the arguments in function definition, that will become default argument. Default means in general what we are doing. If you observe this program, whatever we written, from where we are sending the arguments, we are sending the arguments from the function calling. We are sending the arguments from here. From here we are sending. Okay, but sometimes what will happen is, okay, I may not send all the arguments from here. I may not send all the arguments from here. Already I'll have some argument here, and I'll send some other arguments from here. So that is nothing but a default argument. Means the argument which is already having some value in your definition is known as default argument. The argument which is having already some value in your function definition is known as default argument. If even though some default value available in function definition if you are sending other value from function calling for that argument, then the value in function definition will be overridden with the function calling argument. Okay, it is very difficult to read. This is a very big line, but I'll try to explain in a simple way with an example. Okay. Yeah. Once you understand this example, that line is very easy to understand. Default arguments. I'm defining some function display. Okay. A equals to 10, B comma C. Print A is A. Print B is B. Print C is okay. So now I am calling that function main display 20 comma B. Okay, so now all of you please see here. Actually, how many arguments this function is expecting? It is expecting 3 arguments, A, B, C, 3 arguments. Okay, but how many arguments I am passing in from my function call? I am passing only 2 arguments. Okay, so 2 arguments will be assigned to 2 arguments in the definition. Means A will becomes 20, B will becomes 30, and last argument is nothing but it is known as default argument. Okay, default argument means the argument which is having some value in the function definition, that is known as default argument. So in this example, C is default argument. Okay, here I'll write. So C is the default argument here. Default argument. Why C is default argument? Because it is having some value, default value it is having in the function definition. So that's why I'm not sending any value for C. I'm not sending any value for C. For example, if I want to send some value for C, then what will happen? Same program I'll write here, but I want to send some value for C also. Okay? I want to send some value for C also. What value I want to send? I want to send some value for C, 100. I'm sending 3 arguments now. I'm not sending 2 arguments, even though there is a default argument in the definition, that is C. Again, I am sending 3 arguments. So then what will happen is this C value will be overridden by 100. So now C will becomes 100, not 40. So that is the point what I written here. If you observe here, what is the output? A value is 20, that is fine. B value is 30, that is also fine. C value, actually there is a default value for C, that is 40. But even though there is a default value for C, I'm sending 100 from my function call. So that 40 will be replaced, or 40 will be overwritten by this 100. So that is the point what I written here. Okay. If we have any value given for the arguments in function definition, that will be, okay, known as default argument. If even though some default value available in function definition, if we are sending other value from function calling for that argument, then the value in function definition will be overwritten with the function calling argument. So that is the point what I written here. I think it is clear to all, right? Any doubts? Any doubts, ma, regarding default arguments? Please respond in the chat box. If you don't have any doubts, or if you have any doubts, whatever it may be, please respond. Because already I told you, this type of arguments are not available in other languages. Maybe in your C language also you studied about different types of arguments, with arguments, without arguments, with return type, without return type in your functions. Okay, that is different story, and this is different story. Okay, without arguments, with arguments, with return type, without arguments, without return type. So that 4 types of functions will be there. Maybe I think you all of you studied in your C language or Java in other languages also. That is there in all languages. There is no specialty for that. That is there in all the languages. But what is the specialty? In Python, the specialty is this type of arguments are not there in other languages. Okay, right. So no doubts, right? So you understood this default arguments. Okay, next point, next concept is variable length arguments. Okay, variable length arguments means if you don't know, if you don't know how many number of arguments, you don't know how many number of arguments needed are required in function definition, then you can use star so that it will denote variable length. Variable length means any number of arguments. Whenever you are calling function, you can pass any number of arguments in your function. Okay, this is a simple explanation for this variable length. Variable length means we don't know how many number of arguments are required. Variable means varies. It is not fixed. It is not constant. The meaning of variable length means it is going to be varied. Varied means it is changed. It is modifiable. It is changed. Okay, it is not fixed. So we can use star to represent variable length arguments in Python. We'll see one example program. Define function 1. I can write simply star of a. Star means it will represent variable length star of a. Okay. So for I in A, I can print its values. Print of I. So now I will define here. I'll define. Okay. So A is equals to. You can write anything here. You can write some list or some people or some string, whatever. You can pass any number of arguments. 40, 50, 60, 70. Function 1 of A. Okay, so this is actually list we will get it. Okay, so if you pass the list, you will get in the form of a list, or you can call like this also. If you don't want to pass this like this, directly you can pass some values here. Instead of this, directly you can pass some arguments. You can pass any number of arguments. 200, 300, 400, any number of arguments you can pass, because it is a variable length. You can pass any number of arguments. Okay, so now how many arguments you passed here? You passed some 6 arguments, right? The first argument is 100, second argument is 200, next argument is 300, next argument is 400, 500, 600. Okay, if you want to pass any number of arguments, you can pass 700, 800, 900. Okay. Maybe I can pass function 1, okay, with some arguments like I'll pass some 1.3, 2.4, 3.6. I'm calling the same function 2 times with the 6 arguments and with some 3 arguments. So first I'm calling the function with 9 arguments, 100 to 900. Same function I am calling with some 3 arguments. Okay, so this is nothing but variable length. Variable length means same function, that is function 1. I am calling with some 9 arguments first time. I am calling with some 3 arguments. You can call the same function with okay, with 1 argument also. You can call with 1 argument also. Okay, 10. 10 is 1 argument. I am calling the same function with 1 argument also. Okay, so now if you observe here, when I call the third time this function, it is displaying only 1 argument. So that is the meaning of variable length. We don't know how many number of arguments are required. So if you don't know, then what you will do, simply you can pass how many number of arguments. Okay, you can pass any number of arguments. It may be 1, 2, 3, any number of arguments you can pass. I hope understood, right, all of you? Yeah, you can use set and list also. That is up to you. What you want to use, you can use set, you can use list, you can use tuple, whatever you want, you can use. Without using any set, list, or tuple, directly you can pass any number of arguments with the comma separated values. Okay, so maybe you can pass some arguments like hello. Okay, I am passing string for the same function. Okay, so here function 1, right? It is function 1, not function 1. Yes, okay. So this is function 1. So I am passing hello. If you want to pass, you can pass some other arguments. Maybe I want to pass some 4 arguments. So here same function I am calling with I'm calling first with 9 arguments. Next I am calling with 3 arguments. That two different data types. If you observe here, first I am calling only with integers. Next I am calling with some float numbers. Next I am calling with some integer, only 1 argument. Next I am calling with some strings with 4 arguments. So that is the meaning of variable length. You can call with any number of arguments. That is the meaning of variable. Variable means it will varies. So that's why you can call with any number of arguments. I hope it is clear to all, right? Is it clear, ma? Is it clear? Please respond in the chat. Okay, so all of you, please, I'll clearly I'll write here. Okay, all of you must practice these 4 functions. At least must practice at least 3 programs for each type of arguments. Okay, it is must and should. All of you must practice at least 3 programs for each type of argument. So at least you do 3 programs for required arguments and 3 more programs for keyword arguments and 3 more programs for default argument and 3 more programs for variable length arguments. Then only you will get an idea. Okay, now you can understand it's fine. The thing is, you are in a position to write the program by your own at any time if you practice these programs only. If you practice one program, or if you are there in the class, if you listen class for one program, okay, automatically you'll forget. Immediately you'll forget. Okay. After 1 week, if I ask na, can you write a program for required arguments? Okay, you are unable to write a program. The thing is you didn't practice it. So that's why minimum 3 programs. You can practice minimum 3. Okay, you can practice 10 programs also for each type. That is up to you, but minimum must and should you are supposed to practice 3 programs so that you will get an idea and you'll remember, okay, for a long time what is the concept of this arguments, what is required argument, what is default argument, what is keyboard argument, what is variable length arguments. I think it is clear. There is no confusion between these arguments because each and every argument is of its own speciality. Okay, there is no ambiguity. Okay, there is no ambiguity. There is no confusion. Each and every argument is having its own speciality, its own specification, its own syntax, okay, its own style. So, any doubts? Any doubts in these concepts or in these programs? Please let me know if you have any doubts. Okay, these are very important concepts. Now, functions itself, already I told you, whenever I started the concept of functions, we are discussing the same concept from last 4 classes. I told you, functions concept is most important in any programming language. It's not only particular to Python, not only particular to C, not only particular to Java. It is always very important to know the concept of functions to practice more and more programs and functions. So if you practice more and more programs and functions, then automatically you will get more and more programming knowledge in that particular language. If you did functions concept in Python, then obviously the same concept will be there in Java. Only the thing is these many type of arguments are not available in other languages, but the syntax, okay, writing syntax, okay, returning value, not returning value, what is argument, everything will be there common for C, Java, Python. In these concepts, function means what? It will perform some task. Okay, it may take some arguments or may not take some arguments. So this is common definition and common scenario for any programming language. So that's why if you observe, okay, you try to understand the things and you try to define in your own way. For example, if you read my definitions, whatever I written here for these type of arguments or for other concepts also, in my class, whatever the definitions I am giving, okay, I am giving definitions in my own language. Okay, so these definitions you may not find in any of the textbooks because these are the definitions I am writing in my own words. The thing is, okay, you are supposed to define in your own words. The thing is only you are supposed to get the concept. Concept is common. If you read n number of textbooks, the concept is common, but they are going to write the definition in their own style. Okay, you are having your own style. I am having my own style. Your friends are having your own style. So the thing is common in all of us is the concept. Concept is common to everyone, but the how we are presenting the concept, how we are understanding the concept, how we are learning the concept, that is different. I am learning the concept by practicing more and more programs. First I'll practice a program. If I practice some 10 programs, then I don't need the theory behind that. That is my way of learning any programming language. I don't read any theory part. I will do programs only. If I practice 5 programs for a particular concept, then automatically I can understand what is the theory or what is the concept behind that. So that's why learning examples, practicing programs is very, very important. If you practice program, if you learn example, then automatically the concept is very clear to you. But most of the students, what they do is they will learn the concept, means theory they will learn, okay, and later they will try to practice some program. If you learn first theory, okay, by the time when you are going to practice, then what you will do is you won't practice, simply you will by heart. So that is a problem in programming. Most of the students are doing like that. So that's why instead of learning theory, instead of spending some time for theory, you spend some time for practice or spend some time for doing more and more examples, so that automatically the concept is very clear to you. I think all of you getting right what I am talking. Okay, any doubts, ma? Any doubts? Still any more doubts? If you have any doubts, please let me know in the chat box. Yes. Okay. So if you have any doubts, please ask me. Otherwise, I'll stop here.